Mayotte is an overseas department and region of France officially named Département de Mayotte. It consists of a main island, Grande Terre, a smaller island, Petite Terre, and several islets around these two. The archipelago is located in the northern Mozambique Channel in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Southeast Africa, between northwestern Madagascar and northeastern Mozambique. Mayotte's area is 374 square kilometers and, with its 212,645 people, is very densely populated at 569 per square kilometers. The biggest city and prefecture is Mamoudzou on Grande Terre. However, the Dzaoudzi Pamanzi International Airport is located on the neighboring island of Petite Terre. The territory is geographically part of the Comoro Islands. The territory is also known as Mayotte, the native name of its main island, especially by advocates of its inclusion in the Union of Comoros. The language of the majority is Shimayori, a Bantu language variety closely related to the varieties in the neighboring Comoros Islands. The second most widely spoken native language is Kibashi, a Malagasy language variety most closely related to the Sakalava dialect of Malagasy with influences from Shimayori. The vast majority of population is Muslim. The island was populated from neighboring East Africa with later arrival of Arabs, who brought the Islamic religion. A sultanate was established in 1500. In the 19th century, Mayotte was conquered by Andrian Soli, former king of Iboina on Madagascar, and later by the neighboring islands Mohe, Akutali and then Anjouan before being purchased by France in 1841. The people of Mayotte voted to remain politically a part of France in the 1974 referendum. Mayotte became an overseas department on the 31st of March 2011 and became an outermost region of the European Union on the 1st of January 2014. Following a 2009 referendum with an overwhelming result in favor of the department status. Geography. The term Mayotte may refer to all of the department's islands, of which the largest is known as Mayotte and includes Mayotte's surrounding islands, most notably Pamanzi, or only to the largest island, the main island, Grande Terre. Geologically, the oldest of the Comoro Islands, is 39 kilometers long and 22 kilometers wide, and its highest point is Mount Banara, at 660 meters above sea level. Because of the volcanic rock, the soil is relatively rich in some areas. A coral reef encircling much of the island ensures protection for ships and a habitat for fish. Dzaoudzi was the capital of Mayotte until 1977. It is situated on Petite Terre, which at 10 square kilometers is the largest of several islets adjacent to Mayotte. History. See also, History of the Comoros for the history of Mayotte before 1974. In 1500, the Mayotte or Moruti Sultanate was established on the island. In 1503, Mayotte was observed by Portuguese explorers, but not colonized. In 1832, Mayotte was conquered by Andrian Soli, former king of Iboina on Madagascar. In 1833, it was conquered by the neighboring Sultanate of Mwali. On 19 November 1835, Mayotte was again conquered by the Ndezouani Sultanate. A governor was installed with the unusual Islamic style of Qadi. However, in 1836 it regained its independence under a last local sultan. Mayotte was purchased by France in 1841. It was the only island in the archipelago that voted in referendums in 1974 and 1976 to retain its link with France and forego independence. The Comoros continue to claim the island. A draft 1976 United Nations Security Council resolution recognizing Comorian sovereignty over Mayotte, supported by 11 of the 15 members of the Council, was vetoed by France. It was the last time, as of 2011, update, that France cast a lone veto in the Council. The United Nations General Assembly has adopted a series of resolutions on the issues, whose tenor can be gauged from their title, Question of the Comorian Island of Mayotte, up to 1995. Since 1995, the subject of Mayotte has not been discussed by the General Assembly. Mayotte became an overseas department of France in March 2011 in consequence of the 29th of March 2009 referendum. The outcome was a 95.5% vote in favor of changing the island's status from a French overseas community to become France's 101st département. Its non-official traditional Islamic law, applied in some aspects of the day-to-day life, will be gradually abolished and replaced by the uniform French civil code. Additionally, French social welfare and taxes apply in Mayotte, though some of each will be brought in gradually. Comoros continues to claim the island, while criticizing the French military base there. Politics. The politics of Mayotte takes place in a framework of a parliamentary representative democratic French local government, whereby the president of the departmental council is the head of the local assembly, and of a multi-party system. Executive power is exercised by the French government. Mayotte also sends one deputy to the French National Assembly and 2 senators to the French Senate. Mayotte is an overseas department and region of France officially named Département de Mayotte. Unlike the other overseas regions and departments of France, Mayotte possesses a single local assembly, officially called the Departmental Council, which acts both as a regional and departmental council. The situation of Mayotte proved to be awkward for France. While the local population very largely did not want to be independent from France and join the Comoros, some international criticism from post-colonial leftist regimes was heard about Mayotte's ongoing ties to France. Furthermore, the peculiar local administration of Mayotte, largely ruled by customary Muslim law, would be difficult to integrate into the legal structures of France. Not to mention the costs of bringing the standards of living to levels close to those of metropolitan France. For these reasons, the laws passed by the national parliament had to state specifically that they applied to Mayotte for them to be applicable on Mayotte. The status of Mayotte was changed in 2001 towards one very close to the status of the departments of France, with the particular designation of departmental collectivity. This change was approved by 73% of voters in a referendum. After the constitutional reform of 2003, it became an overseas collectivity while retaining the title, Departmental Collectivity of Mayotte. Mayotte became an overseas department of France on 31 March 2011 following the result of the March 2009 Mahoran status referendum, which was overwhelmingly approved by around 95% of voters. Becoming an overseas department will mean it will adopt the same legal and social system as used in the rest of France. This will require abandoning some customary laws, adopting the standard French civil code, and reforming the judiciary, educational, social and fiscal systems, and will take place over a period of about 20 years. Despite its domestic constitutional evolution from the status of an overseas collectivity to that of an overseas department, effectively becoming a full constituent territory within the French Republic with regards to the European Union, Mayotte remained an overseas country and territory, in association with the Union TFEU, and not a constituent territory of the European Union in the same way as the other 4 overseas departments. However, following a directive of the European Council in December 2013, Mayotte became an outermost region of the European Union on 1 January 2014. This successful agreement between the 27 member states follows a petition made by the French government for Mayotte to become an integral territory of the European Union, nonetheless benefiting from the derogation clause applicable in existing outermost regions. namely Article 349 TFEU, as favored in a June 2012 European Commission opinion on Mayotte's European constitutional status. Administrative divisions. Mayotte is divided into 17 communes. There are no arrondissements: Dzaoudzi, Parmanzi, Mamoudzou, Dembeni, Bandreye, Karnikayakutelai, Bueni, Karongui, Sada, Wangani, Chikoni, Singoni, Mtsangamuji, Akua, Mt Sambaro, Bandrabua, Kungao. Transport. Waterways ferry between Dzaoudzi and Mamoudzou. Highways. Total 93 kilometers paved, 72 kilometers unpaved, 21 kilometers. Ports and harbors. Dzaoudzi, Longoni. Airports. Dzaoudzi Pamanzi International Airport, the only airport in Mayotte with paved runways. 1. Economy. The official currency of Mayotte is the euro. In 2013, the GDP of Mayotte at market exchange rates was 1.785 billion euros. In that same year, the GDP per capita of Mayotte at market exchange rates, not at PPP, was 8,200 euros, which was 12.5 times higher than the GDP per capita of the Comoros that year, but only 41% of the GDP per capita of Réunion Union and 25% of the GDP per capita of metropolitan France. Demographics. As of the August 2012 census update, there were 212,645 people living in Mayotte. According to the 2007 census, 63.5% of the people living in Mayotte were born in Mayotte, 4.8% were born in the rest of the French Republic, 28.3% were immigrants from the Comoros, 2.6% were immigrants from Madagascar, and the remaining 0.8% came from other countries. 85,000 of the total 90,000 inhabitants of the island are Comorians. The Comorians are a blend of settlers from many areas: Iranian traders, mainland Africans, Arabs and Malagasy. Comorian communities can also be found in other parts of the Comoros chain, as well as in Madagascar. Religions. The main religion in Mayotte is Islam, with 97% of the population Muslim and 3% Christian. The main religious minority, Roman Catholicism, has no proper diocese but is served, together with the Comoros, by a missionary jurisdiction, the Apostolic Vicariate of Comoros Archipelago. Languages. The native languages of Mayotte: Shimaori, a dialect of the Comorian language; Kibashi, a western dialect of the Malagasy language heavily influenced by Shimaori and Arabic; Karantalautsi, another western dialect of the Malagasy language also heavily influenced by Shimaori and Arabic. Kibashi is spoken in the south and northwest of Mayotte, while Shimaori is spoken elsewhere. Other non-native languages are also present in Mayotte. French, the language originally imported by the French colonizers. Arabic, essentially learned in the Quranic schools. Various dialects of the Comorian language essentially imported by immigrants who have arrived in Mayotte since 1974. Shinzwani, Shingasajar, and Shimwali. Shingasajar and Shimwali on the one hand and Shimaori on the other hand are generally mutually intelligible. Shinzwani and Shimaori are perfectly mutually intelligible. 2007 census. French is the only official language of Mayotte. It is the language used for administration and the school system. It is the language most used on television and radio as well as in commercial announcements and billboards. In spite of this, knowledge of French in Mayotte is lower than in any other part of France. At the 2007 census, 63.2% of people 14 years and older reported that they could speak French. 93.8% of the population whose age was 14 or older reported that they could speak one of the local languages of Mayotte. 6.2% of the population aged 14 and older reported that they spoke none of the local languages and could speak only French. 2006 survey by France's Ministry of National Education. A survey was conducted by the French Ministry of National Education in 2006 among pupils registered in CM2. Questions were asked regarding the languages spoken by the pupils as well as the languages spoken by their parents. According to the survey, the ranking of mother tongues was the following: Mayotte, 55.1%, Shinzwani, 22.3%, Kibashi, 13.6%, Shingasaja, 7.9%, French, 1.4%, Shimwali, 0.8%, Arabic, 0.4%, Karantalousi, 0.2%, other, 0.4%. When also counting second language speakers, then the ranking became Mayotte, 88.3%, French, 56.9%, Shinzwani, 35.2%, Kibashi, 28.8%, Shingasaja, 13.9%, Arabic, 10.8%, Shimwali, 2.6%, Karantalousi, 0.9%, other, 1.2%. With the mandatory schooling of children and the economic development both implemented by the French central state, the French language has progressed significantly on Mayotte in recent years. The survey conducted by the Ministry of National Education showed that while first and second language speakers of French represented 56.9% of the population in general, this figure was only 37.7% for the parents of CM2 pupils, but reached 97.0% for the CM2 pupils themselves. Nowadays there are instances of families speaking only French to their children in the hope of helping their social advancement. With French schooling and French language television, many young people turn to French or use many French words when speaking Mayotte and Kibashi, leading some to fear that these native languages of Mayotte could either disappear or become some sort of French-based Creole. Cultural practices. Approximately 25% of the adult population, and 5 times as many women as men, enter trance states in which they believe they are possessed by certain identifiable spirits who maintain stable and coherent identities from one possession to the next.